Hi, this is our new used heavy brush truck. We got it as a donation from Department of Forestry. It is a Freightliner 2000 FL70. It's almost exactly like our rescue truck, so it's going to drive a lot the same. It has a 1,000-gallon tank and a 350-gallon-per-minute pump on it, and we will be using it as one of our heavy brush.
For a two-wheel?
It is two-wheel drive, and you want to make sure that you're on a packed road. It doesn't have to be paved, but it needs to be an improved road. You don't want to take it off track. Okay, on the floorboard, you'll notice you have your fuel pedal, your brake pedal, and you have an additional third pedal here on the left. This is the transmission brake. When using this, you can help slow the truck down without using your brakes, but as you use this, the transmission is going to begin to heat up. So you need to watch your transmission temperature gauge, which is the middle gauge on the right side of the dash panel, and make sure that you don't overheat. Okay, the procedures for starting the truck is first remember to always unplug the air line, which is right here, and the power shore line, which is right here. Then you'll come over and turn on the battery switch to on. When you get in the cab and turn the ignition switch on, you will hear it going through a startup sequence, which includes the backup alarm. You'll hear the backup alarm ring several times. Don't worry about that. You're not in reverse, and it will go off. Once it's through the startup sequence, just like all the rest of the trucks, then you can go ahead and turn the ignition on. Make sure the gauges go all the way over and come back. Inside the cab, start your ignition again. Watch your gauges come back and forth. You'll hear the alarm. Once that is through, you can start the truck. Put your foot on the brake and release your parking brake. And then you choose drive or reverse, and off you go. When you get to the scene, of course, always remember to put your truck in neutral and set your parking brake. In order to use the pump throttle, you have to remember to turn on the cruise control. The cruise control button allows you to throttle up and throttle down from the pump panel. If you forget to do that, you'll know it right away because you won't be able to throttle up or down. Then go ahead and get out of the cab, and then you can go to the... Okay, you can listen to the thing in the back. Once that's complete,
brake off, hit drive.
Yep. Push to take the brake off with your foot on the brake pedal, and then choose your gear, drive, put it in neutral, set the brake. Okay, so in the cab you have a couple options. You have your left work lights and your right work lights, which are the side lights for letting you light up part of the scene. Rear work lights, compartment lights inside the compartments. You can turn the PTO on from the cab, but you're better off if you do it from the pump panel. The radio switch does not do anything. We also have a switch on the controller down here that says step lights, and if you turn that on, then it lights up the ground all around the trucks, so you can get out and see where you're getting out at night. Otherwise, the radio controller works the same as all of our others, where you just turn the knob or flip the switch to run the lights, the overheads, and the emergency lights, and the siren. Okay, we're going to go over the pump panel. When you get out of the truck, this is the pump to PTO switch, which will engage your pump. Each one of these are labeled for the two hose reels, one on either side, and the two pre-connects. The pre-connects are these boxes right up here. The one thing you have to realize is if you turn these on with the hose still inside, you just inflated your hose with water. And these valves open rapidly. They're not a slow close valve because they're automatic. So if you can, remember to have your hose deployed, and while you're at idle, open those switches, because then they'll fill up for you. Otherwise, you're going to get some significant water hammer. And those are the two top pre-connects that will do that. You have your tank to pump valve. It's got an open and close. You want to just push the open until the open light comes on. You also have your tank fill so that you can fill while someone is feeding water to you. And the same thing as hit the open. This is a switch that can open by degree, so the longer you hold this open, the more it will open. So if you just want to crack it and fill your tank while you're pumping additional water, you can do that with this valve. And you just choose how far open you want that. These two valves, which go with your foam tank, will always stay in this position.
Up and down.
Up and down. They no longer function in the other position because of broken parts that are not going to be replaced. So just always make sure these are up and down position. To turn your foam on, you just flip up the switch to Foam Pro and then turn on your foam and choose how much percentage you want to run, which on a wildfire is usually around 0.1 to 0.3 for wet water. Out here, in order to increase your pressure, you have your increase and decrease switch on your throttle. This will not work for you unless you remember to turn on the cruise control in the cab, which we talked about earlier. So if you hold this button and your throttle does not increase, go back to the cab and turn your cruise control on. Your PTO pump can be turned on also in the cab, but it's best to do it in here after you've deployed some of your hoses so that you don't water hammer your lines if you can. But you can turn on your PTO from here, open your valve, and choose your lines. Now, down here it shows inlet or draft. This is for taking water from another source, like a tender pulls up, or if you want a suction. Suction hoses in the back of the truck. All the number 3 valves on the truck, which are, there's one on each side and one in the back. Your hose reels and your pre-connects all have foam. You do have one here that's called number 18. And I've marked it with no foam. This is the only outlet on the truck. If you just want water without foam injected, this is the line to use. Okay, once your pump is running, just a couple quick reminders for you is the gauges, of course, are right here, and they work the same as all of our other gauges, showing full down to need to be filled, and you'll get a blinking red light. On your valves, once you start your pump, all of your lower valves with handle controls on them will be live. So you can get water from them after you hook up and open the valve, each valve. The 2 upper ones are controlled again right here. And so you will not get water out of those until you open these valves. And again, quick reminder on these that have these special things on them. These are quick open, and they're just quick open valves, and these are on there as a reminder that if that hose isn't deployed and you turn this switch on, you will fill the hose in the bed. At the back of the truck, we have another pre-connect 1.5" labeled number 3, and that means that anytime the pump is running, it has a water supply. You also have, okay, on this side of the truck, we also have an inlet for taking water from a tender or a draft. And we have an 1.5" that is plumbed directly to the pump, so it has pressure all the time. Up on top, you have another hose reel and pre-connect. Same thing, you do not want to Flip the pre-connect valve until you've taken the hose out of the truck. It will fill the bed. When fueling this truck, you have to remember that this is dual tanks. There's one on each side. These tanks are cross-fed through the fuel system, and if you only fill one side, then in about 15 minutes of running, they're going to equalize themselves and you're no longer going to have a full tank. So remember when fueling that you need to completely fill both tanks to have a full tank of fuel. Okay, this truck is almost identical as 761 as far as maintenance. Same thing, open up your hood releases, pull the door open, and then you have access to your oil and your transmission to check what it is. Oil fill is on top of the engine. Everything else is pretty much the same. After you come back, you can check your antifreeze on the other side, your oil levels, and it'll be set to go.